Good evening, everyone, or good day, I guess it's supposed to be. Welcome to Changeling the Lost, the Littlebrook reunion, season 2, episode 2. We're kicking off with an almost full team. We're unfortunately missing Lars. He is unavailable for today, or Touring, who is his player, and Kitsu will be right with us, playing Tide. I'm Chris, the Primogen, and I will be your storyteller for tonight. And before we start, I have a little announcement about a certain game on Kickstarter, which only has, I believe, 6 days left until it's funded, which it is, by the way. It's the Cults of the Blood Gods, which is the second Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition rulebook or source book being released by the Onyx Path. It is about basically any kind of religion in vampire society, everything from millennial thin bloods smoking ash from dead kindred, yes, that is one of the cults, to Methuselah worship and, the classic blood cults, the Mithrists, stuff like that. And of course, the Hekata, which is the newest iteration of, I would say, the Giovanni, but they're only one part of the Hekata. The Hekata is a clan composed of basically all the inheritor clans and the Cappadocians, from the Cappadocians. Really interesting. I've been reading up about it, and I will be doing a Beckoning podcast with Outstar, Huddy, and Jerish about it on Saturday. But that's for Saturday. That is true. That is true. Yeah, exactly. The Ministry, the cool cults. The cool cults are going to be in the game too. Yeah, yeah. So they're about 120 something thousand now, which is really good. And there, if you get over $130,000, there you will actually give more money to the creative team, which I think is an admirable goal milestone. What do they call them again on Kickstarter? Stretch goal. Stretch goal. There we go. Thank you. I'm a professional. Yeah. Yeah, so if you're watching and you're into vampire cults, then go back that. You will get access to almost the entire PDF, although currently in Word format, because you get the manuscript and you can read it for yourself. The book is slated to be released late 2020, early 2021, I believe. Don't quote me on that. And as usual, it is amazing content. If you were impressed by Chicago by Night, or if you want to check out something of the same quality, then these are the people writing it. And I believe that is all for the announcements. I hope I didn't miss anything. There was supposed to be, I was informed that the Nightbot was not supposed to be online, but he appears to be online, or it appears to be online. So everything is as it should be. And we are ready to delve into another episode of Littlebrook. Things kicked off pretty weirdly last session. Anybody want to summarize it, or should I? I'll take that as a no. So I will do it. All right. Things happen. Things happen. So if you missed out season 1, everything is on YouTube on my channel. It would be episode 1 to 9. Last week, our bold changelings were informed by Amanda, or Cobbler, one of the old friends of Nova, or Nadine, as she used to be called, that the Ermine Cloak, one of the 4 artifacts that had been used to seal a contract with the Seasons to keep Littlebrook safe and sound from everything the Hedge could throw at them, well, the Ermine Cloak had been stolen. The group decided to go and investigate that at Amanda's shoe store. She did not want to tell any of the other older changelings. She felt a little bit embarrassed about it, or terrified. And it turned out that it was indeed some manner of fey creatures who had taken the cloak down the sewers. I really hope I'm not Oh, I am missing something, which I will talk about after we're done with this, because we also covered Jonas. I'm sorry about that, Jonas. We'll get to that in a second. But let me continue my train of thought. I'm very sorry about that. You guys went into the sewers trying to get a mirror down there for a little while to allow Silas to travel through. The sewers themselves, however, were quite spacious, and you found finally the culprits, 2 goblin creatures. I believe they're called goblins or hobgoblins, even though they technically aren't goblins the way we think of them. There was a tiny Batman in a suit, was smoking a cigar, and there was a very tall stick man, and they were called Trick and Stick. You figured out. And Trick and Stick, they had stolen the coats, intending to sell it, which they were not afraid to tell you. There was a little bit of a kertuffle. Some threats were thrown around. Some deals were attempted to be made, but unfortunately, before any contract could be sealed, the portal to the hedge or wherever they were going opened up, and Trick and Stick left with the cloak. Meanwhile, Amanda was informed by Matthew that the crown, one of the other artifacts, had in fact also been stolen. He was not sure about the spear. And of course, that was quite a cliffhanger to end things on. But if we rewind the clock a little bit, we also followed Jonas and what he was doing during the week of downtime between last season and this one. Jonas was trying to find a convenient way to get back in touch with his childhood crush, Allison. Yes, not Addison, Allison. I'm sorry. And he did. It turned out that Allison was a fairly successful fantasy young adult novel writer. That's what you call them. And she seemed relatively freaked out by Jonas's slightly stalkerish behavior, but took it, as being a bit of a weirdo, but strangely familiar indeed. There was some attempts at communication, some attempts to form a bond again, but Jonas is taking it slow. He's trying to figure things out right now. He also visited his old friend Henry's grave. Henry unfortunately passed away rather suddenly about, was it 12 years ago? 11 years ago? And 2 years after that, Jonas's Fetch and Allison got married, and now they are in a relatively complex divorce. Unfortunately, Jonas didn't have time to find his Fetch, because the Fetch had gone off to visit the family in Fargo, which again I found out is not actually in the same state as Littlebrook. The more you know. Anyway, hi everyone. Hi. We're done. We're done with the the introduction. I'm not going to summarize the whole last season. I've learned my lesson. Why don't we do a little round of presentation before we start the game? And since we do have the Twitch screen up, we'll start with the bottom right. So Silas, kick it off, and we'll go right to left, right to left, right to left. Thank you. Nova. Nate. Thank you, Harry. Silas is apparently muted. That's weird because I heard him. How about Silas? You do your introduction again. Yeah, but apparently not the game chat. So if it's not okay, everyone is apparently super quiet. So I am going to boost your volume. Okay, how about now? Hopefully. Oh my god. Okay, should be working now. Let's take it from the top. Silas, you go again. I think it should be fine now.
Okay, so my name is Trev. I play Silas, who is
There's something going on with push to talk, I believe, because
it's fixed.
Like
it's
you're all
fixed.
cutting off.
Sorry, it's fixed.
Yeah, it's fixed.
Okay, thank you. Silas, you're playing an ogre, and your name is Trev in real life. Sorry about that.
Oh,
It's
cool.
alright.
Okay, and Nova.
I'm Megan. I play Nova, and she's a beast.
Harry.
Oh, okay. We're starting over.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
My name's Harry. I play Nate, and he's
He's what?
Ferrist.
Fairest, yes.
You cut off, sorry.
No problem.
All right, perfect. Lars, unfortunately, is missing. He is our wizened, and we'll go straight up to Jonas.
Yeah, hello, I'm Adam, and I play Jonas, Darkling.
I guess that leaves me.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kitsu. I play Tide, the elemental.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And now let us play a storytelling game of beautiful madness. It is late August. Warmth has returned to Littlebrook as much as it can, being in the northern part of Minnesota. And children are playing, actually swimming in the river, which they haven't for quite a while. Life is coming back to the city of Littlebrook in many ways. Time is moving once again. For some, it's a rude awakening. The man, my memory for names right now. The Blockbusters has closed down, unfortunately. But maybe more life is going to come into the small, quiet town of Littlebrook. You have climbed out of the sewers. You've been able to find an exit that could fit Silas. And there is perhaps a little bit of worry amongst you. Perhaps quite a bit, since allegedly 2 of the 4 artifacts are now missing, and one of them, the mirror, is broken. Amanda is quiet. The elf-like wizened is looking down at her phone, kind of scrolling through message history, trying to distract herself from the realization that things are not as good as they should be. And Nate, you've been off to the firing range, so you of course do not know about this, but you've received multiple texts, you realize, from the others in your group as you check out your phone again. And it seems to be urgent. You're to meet up at the library, which is something that Amanda and the rest of you have also received on your cell phones.
All right, then I'm gonna jog to the library.
Nate, you jog to the library, which is not too far away. Again, Littlebrook is a small town, and you all roughly arrive at the same time. Now, since it's been a while since we all described ourselves, why don't we take a little time to describe how we look, both as humans, our masks, and as our true selves, our means. You can start, Harry, if you want.
All right. So Nate, he's, as you can see in the picture right by my profile picture, his upper half is entirely made out of diamonds and crystals, just jagged and unfinished. And from the waist down, he's like a Hellenistic gold statue. So very detailed, very finished. He was in the middle of being turned into something else when he was freed. So he got cut off in that transition. His mask looks a bit like he does, a bit like I do, only more angular, sharper chin, sharper everything, really. Probably wouldn't want to give him a hug. He might get poked.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you very much. Let's go on with Tide.
Tide looks a little bit like someone who, and I don't want to be creepy, but someone who might have severe anemia, because they look they have a blue tint to their skin, just a little bit, and this is their human appearance, quote unquote. So they look a little bit blue, like, blue hair, maybe for Instagram, you don't know. Beneath the mean, they have their hair is usually wet, and they have a little like in the picture, have little shells I forgot what the name was for them. The ones that stick
Barnacles.
to. Those, yeah, coming up their neck, and yeah, otherwise fairly nondescript body situation going on. And dressed in, like, currently, I think, pretty worn, wannabe skater attire that they got from the thrift shop. I don't think we got new clothes, did we?
No, not yet. Unless you've stolen or otherwise found these clothes.
Hoodie.
I did, and I'll
Like
explain what
that.
happened later.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You did definitely get new clothes. We'll continue with you, Silas.
When you look at Silas, the first thing that comes to mind is he looks like he's too big to be alive. He is at least as tall as most NBA players, but far more like bigger. Think bigger than Shaquille O'Neal, but smaller than Haggard. And right now, he's wearing a Blockbuster Video shirt, the kind you'd see on a club. In point of fact, the 3XXL t-shirts taken from the ruin of the Empire are some of the only items in town that fit him. The alternatives a basketball jersey, a large coat. So and a shirt from Goodwill. So he's wearing a Blockbuster shirt, and no one so far has taken to recognizing what the royal blue symbolizes. Wait, did that store close down a few years ago? Anyways, so that's his size. Looking like that person is his normal form, so to speak. But in reality, what he really looks like is something much, much larger. His hair is done in dreadlocks that go to the side, and even a braid that comes down from his chin, with earrings with earrings of strange substance through his ears, and a big bulbous nose. It's not even an African kind of style, but a Swedish style. Someone who's familiar with Scandinavian folklore and this about trolls, they'll laugh. Chris is probably one of those people. But beyond that, few others would be familiar with this creature, yet it's clear some alien intelligence has shaped him well beyond the capacity of anything one might consider normal, except by anything but the loosest human standards.
Thank you. We'll go with Jonas.
Yeah, Jonas, his mask is like quite ordinary, a face you easily forget, and he's just plainly clothed with a hoodie and jeans and a t-shirt, just nothing that really stands out at all. His mask is just plain as the pictures, like no features at all, no eyes, no mouth, no nothing really. It's just like a big doll puppet that with no characteristics except its blankness.
Perfect. Thank you. As for human, how would he look there?
Nothing, the mask, nothing like standing out at all.
All right, sorry.
It's a bit he has somewhat like darker hair, but you wouldn't really think of him twice if you don't interact with him.
It's just a face in a crowd. Perfect. Thank you. And Nova.
Yeah, so Nova, like every day, she's just kind of like a short young woman. She's got like real light, almost white hair. She always seems to be wearing these kind of like reddish dark sunglasses, and she's usually has something on her hair, just kind of holding it all back. And she does have a sweater that seems to have like maybe little bite holes in it, which is weird. But she did get it at the Salvation Army, so who knows? Well, if you look beyond that, she's probably even a little shorter. There's antenna, little black feather antenna coming. Her glasses are more like giant red eyes, and seems kind of fluttery.
She's
like
a
a
bit
little.
all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Loves coffee.
Coffee's great.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Perfect. So you're all meeting up outside the library, and you see Patty's patrol car, the deputy, It's parked outside the library as well. And you see Matthew standing outside, and he's actually smoking right now. He's looking a little bit stressed out. And as you see you approach, he kind of flips the cigarette down and grinds it to the ground and looks you over. And, it's all right. You were tracking down the. Amanda was telling me you were tracking down the person who stole the coat. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Ah, Nate. Did you inform Nate? Nate, do you know what's going on?
No, just that everyone smells like shit.
This is true. You don't smell great. It's not the worst kind of sewer, really. It's more like a drain for water, household water and stuff like that. But it doesn't smell great. Matthew, by the way, is the librarian of the town. He looks fairly normal, except his skin is kind of papery, dry, yellowish, and covered top to bottom in writing, all manners of different languages. So he's like if someone took every kind of book and just photocopied it onto his skin at the same time. And he nods to you and says, "There seems to have been some manner of organized attack against our freehold. Two of the four artifacts we retrieved from the Not two of the four artifacts we used for the contract have been stolen. I'm not entirely sure about the third. Patty is inside. She tells me she's not entirely sure where it is, but she's fairly certain it hasn't been taken yet. Did you manage to identify who the thieves were?"
It's like a short guy and a really tall guy, but the short guy was like a bat and the tall guy was like a stick. And they haven't finished The Witcher yet.
I've seen these guys before. They were there when I was kidnapped.
They look familiar to me too. I mean, I don't know if there's a lot of bat guys and stick guys, but they look like a bat guy and a stick guy I saw once.
A bat guy, you say?
Yeah.
That is... I believe I've heard mention of them before. They're fairly common hobgoblins. Did they tell you anywhere they were going, or did they say why they were taking the cloak?
They were gonna sell them, apparently.
Ah, well, that makes sense. We did purchase them off the goblin markets. Did they say, were they going to the goblin markets as well? Are you, Amanda, did they, she shakes her head. She's like, no, they did some kind of ritual with metallic shavings and it made a portal. All right, well, that's deeply concerning. If we are to recreate the ritual, the contract to close off our city again, we will have to retrieve either these artifacts or something of equal value.
I raise my hand.
Yes, Silas.
Matthew, I might not be the smartest person in the room when it comes to goblin contracts. But if goblins are stealing back the items that you use, isn't that breaking the contract? And they didn't tell us they were just repossessing them. They didn't seem like they were doing it legitimately. Unless they were. What's going on there?
It's quite possible these were not the same goblins that we made the deal with, and I'm not entirely read up on the contract of the purchase. I wasn't the one who went to the market. It was Wenceslaus, but he's still recovering. I believe if we can track these thieves down, then perhaps we can convince them either to trade these artifacts back for us, or otherwise convince them that it's in their best interest that we can retrieve them in any way or form.
They asked us for some favor when we confronted them.
Ah, yes, they requested a boon, a contract. Did you manage to seal any kind of deal before they left?
No, you should never make deals with those guys, is what I learned.
That's very wise of you.
They're bad news.
They are not. Are you aware of the goblin creatures of the hedge? Did any of you travel outside of the of Arcadia?
I think I met a few of them. I think I was at the goblin market once.
I did, but the mere threat of the keeper was enough to set them in line for whatever reason. I didn't have to negotiate with them often, but when I did, it was more authority than anything else.
It's true, they are not actual fair folk. They are inferior creatures to them, beings woven by the glamour of the hedge, given purpose based on an emotion or a mindset or a fairy tale, a kind of belief. They are not necessarily hostile towards our kind, not even hostile towards humans. Nate, you mentioned you've actually encountered them. Did you meet these two specifically? Oh, you're cut off. I don't hear what you're saying.
I think so, if I remember correctly.
Do you recall their names?
There's also a really big one. Their names? I don't remember them, but I definitely remember seeing them.
Right. Well, when you return to our world, you traveled through the hedge. You might not have realized at the time that you left Arcadia and spent some time in the interim, the interwar between our world and theirs. But there are other changelings who frequently visit the hedge. It is not necessarily a dangerous world for our kind. In fact, I believe that some even find ways to create little hidey holes, little homes for themselves, kept away from the fair folk, so to speak. But if they brought them there, we need to figure out a way to retrieve these items. Perhaps before we talk about this any further, we need to figure out if this spear has been stolen as well. Should we? He kind of motions for you to get into the library.
All right, I'll head in.
You enter the library and you see Patty, who's kind of on the phone as you enter. Patty is the deputy sheriff of Littlebrook. She's a beast, just like Nova, and she's some kind of mix of a Clydesdale horse and a person. So she's kind of burly. She's got cloven feet, sort of horseish features, but not too much. And she kind of looks up from her phone and presses the mute button. I'm talking to the sheriff right now, and he said he saw it lying, like he moved it apparently in the storage area. That's why I couldn't find it. And I'm sorry, sheriff. You can't just take. All right, I'll sorry. I'll go get it. He said he put it. Like use it as a doorstopper. He thought it was some kind of reenactment sword or something, spear. I don't really know what he's doing. I don't think it's been taken though. I'll go and check. Hi everyone. By the way, you smell really bad.
Do you have showers in the library?
Matthew just shakes his head, but Patty goes, well, we do have a shower over at the deputies if you want to, or at the, sorry, not the deputies, at the sheriff's, if you want to use those.
I mean, this is for others' convenience. Water is water, so.
Fair enough. You want to go use the showers while I'm looking?
Yes, please.
All right. I'll take you with me in the car. It's not the worst smelling people I've brought with me, I guess.
Thank you.
Now I'm curious as to who smelled worse.
Nova's like, no, we were doing stuff. We tried to save it, and everyone says we stink, but we were like doing something, and we were like real close, and we were trying to do something, and we had to bring a mirror, and we were talking to these things, and everyone just says we stink, and now you want us to go back.
I'm sorry, just a question. Did we get the cloak?
You didn't know. They took it with them.
We didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a distraction, I believe, and they kind of.
I remember I yanked it, and then they said like,
we have one of the items. I believe we retrieved it.
Oh, you took the cloak?
Yes.
I remember so, but I'm not sure. That's why I'm asking.
I'm pretty sure they didn't take it because he was holding it.
That is a huge miss on my end. I didn't. I must have just forgotten to say that they took. But since I didn't say that they took the cloak, you guys still have the cloak. That changes a lot. That changes a lot of things.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, so
We stink, but we
that's
won.
that's a mess up on my end, but I'll roll with it. Just
I now remember. We got it, and I gave it to Amanda and said that
Yeah.
she owed me for or us for this.
oh my god, how did I am so sorry, you guys. It's been a busy week. Work started. Okay, wow,
worries.
that's putting me on blast right here on live. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Why didn't you say anything sooner?
Yeah, we're gonna pay for it later. Shut up.
In
No,
my
no, no.
defense, I have no
I
idea about
like
anything cloak related.
I like to think that
Like,
they
I don't know.
got to the hedge being saying, "Oh, we just got away from those guys. We are the best thieves ever." Okay, Stick, you had the cloak. Where is it?
I thought you had the cloak.
Eh,
Yeah, that's that's actually literally what happened. They got away. They thought they had the cloak. They were so good at thinking they had the cloak that they fooled me, and I thought they had the cloak. But you have it. So there's only one artifact missing then. Amanda just kind of looks
far.
up from her phone and goes, "I have the cloak though." And there's a bit of an awkward moment where everyone just looks at each other and goes, "All right, well that's a relief. I guess there's only one item missing then." But the crown was taken. It was being kept by Inkwell, and he reported that he thought it was still there, but it had been replaced with a rather crude facsimile. Facsimile, however you pronounce it.
Facsimile.
Facsimile, thank you. Strange words you Americans have. It was stolen. It was replaced with a very strange facsimile, rather hastily put together. But
you trusted that Inkwell guy with something? That guy's shady.
well, it was either that or giving it to Jim, and I don't really think I should be giving anything to Jim that fragile. But a lesson learned, I suppose. Well, with only the crown missing, then I suppose, well, hopefully not the spirits as well. We might as well make a point of this and try to find something to replace the mirror as well. These items, they represent different seasons. I'm not sure that we talked too much about it when you first retrieved the artifacts. But there are 4 different courts, as they're called. Most freeholds you would find have members of all 4 courts. We did not. We still do not. We decided instead to form a contract with the seasons much stronger than any of the courts would. But there are ways of invoking the court, to forming a contract with it. Spring, which is what the crown would represent, the antlered crown, is a season of freedom, of liberty, of joy, as it were, life coming anew. Summer would be a season of wrath, of anger, of heat, fire, and desire for revenge, I suppose you could call it. Autumn is a season of mystery, of introspection, of trying to understand the nature of ourselves, of the nature of the fair folk who kidnapped us. Winter is a season of sorrow, of forgetfulness, of hiding, a season of waiting, of life lying hidden underneath the snow until spring comes again. I personally belong to the springs of fall when I first arrived to America. And I know for a fact that Patty belongs to the court of spring. Did I say spring of fall? I didn't, right? I said court of fall. Miss Blackbird would belong to the court of winter, and Inkwell belongs to the court of spring as well. So.
And what about Wenceslas?
Wenceslas was of the court of spring as well. I'm not sure if he would still be there. We can change courts. It's actually quite common once we progress further through our lives. Right now, I'm not even sure if I would still be Autumn. I'm actually rather tired of this, of that perspective of the world. The reason I'm telling you this is because there are ways for you to also make these contracts for the seasons, for you to enter into a pact that will protect you and also leave its essence in you, strengthen you, make you more than what you already are. Is this something that would interest you?
Yes.
I suppose it would.
What do we give in turn?
The things we give in turn is that we choose never to hide these emotions that embody these seasons, that we not necessarily revel in them, but that we let them come through, that we don't hold back, and that we also naturally give our respects to the seasons. There are certain holidays, certain times of the year where we honor the contract in return, but it is also a contract with reality. Seasons do not exist in Arcadia the way they do here. Seasons in many ways embody the end and beginning of things, antithesis to the Fae, to the, he looks around, to the fair folk. I'm sorry. We will discuss this further once you're cleaned up. I suppose you can also use the showers at school. I believe it's a Saturday morning, correct? Saturday afternoon, actually, so school's out.
Whichever is quicker. I don't even need a long shower or anything.
School is on about 5 minutes away, so that would presumably be quicker.
But shouldn't we look for the spear in the same time at the deputy's office?
Yeah.
Patty looks over and goes, I'm going to leave now, so if anyone wants to come check out with the spear, I'll go, but I think I have an idea where it is. But if it's not, then another pair of hands and eyes would go well.
I'll come with you.
All right.
I'll go with as well.
All right.
I'll go too. Might as well.
Matthew says, if you have if you think you know what kind of season you would best suit, then if you bring an item that resonates with this emotion that you're feeling, this worldview, so to speak, then if you could bring that, we could prepare a quick ritual. It's not the best ritual we could do, but it's something that wouldn't take too much time, and I'm quite certain it would help you if you were to pursue these thieves later on.
So this is a priority then.
Going into the hedge with the protection of the seasons behind you, it's many times more secure than if you were to go without them.
All right.
Which court has the most punching in it?
That would be the summer.
Okay.
I
Thank
want
you.
that one too then.
I was thinking the same thing.
I offer. I actually laugh and like raise a hand for high five.
Silas,
You too.
Jonas, are you?
I'm thinking that I want to join the court of summer.
Summer?
I had some affinity for that. So.
All right. Jonas?
I don't know if I want to make some new bargains yet, but if we're going into the hedge, I guess I would need that protection, right?
You should join the cool kids.
It's okay. If you don't want to make a contract, you don't have to. I'll keep you safe. I said I would, so.
Yeah, maybe I'll go with that for now, and I don't think I will. I don't want to punch stuff, so maybe I will think about it, but I'll trust Tide and the rest for now.
Okay, but you can kick stuff too if you want.
I can assure you that you will be able to punch and kick things even if you're not in the Court of Summers. But the Court of Summers is certainly the most suitable for kicking.
If I want to avoid kicking and punching stuff as much as possible, and leave that to the rest.
Well, the opposite of the court of summer would be the court of winter, which is more of an observative court.
I see. I'll think about it, but
Consider it.
I'll pass down your offer for now. Thanks.
Of course. And if the others enter contracts, then it should be fairly safe for you as well.
Great.
I will go into the nearby woods and prepare for the ritual. Then I will see you in an hour and a half.
What? Just before you go, what kind of items are we bringing? Can I bring my sword?
You can certainly bring a sword. Summer is connected with fire, with rage, with strong feelings of unfairness, of revenge, of wanting to get your anger out. So something that relates to that, something that reminds you of that. Sword, certainly a sword could work, but if there's an item you might have brought with you, if there's something in your life that you feel symbolizes that. It doesn't necessarily have to, but it can certainly make the transition easier.
And what happens to the item that we bring?
It will symbolize the bond between you and your season. If you carry it with you, it will be most advantageous. Of course, you don't necessarily have to, but if you're entering the hedge, I would really recommend you bring it with you.
I'll take my pistol out of my waistband and hand it to him.
Oh,
I think this is the item.
Is this one of the new ones you've made, or is this an...
This is the first one I made.
All right, I will use this handgun then to... All right, well, fair. It's just a long-range sword, I suppose. I will use it. Pistols, yes. And a sword from Tide.
Okay, I summon it.
Oh,
I
your ice sword?
I guess. I don't have an actual sword. I don't have any.
I believe it would be a permanent item that would be required.
Okay, I'll go look, but I have to.
do we have anything left from the dragon, like a trophy or something?
No, he evaporated.
There is one item that's been...
Oh.
Yes, but that item belongs to one of you.
Silas silently reaches into his great backpack and pulls out what looks to be a hard shell made out of something that looks like obsidian, that is basically black stone. Slowly unscrewing it, he finally lets everyone see the thing contained inside. Despite the fact that you may never have seen one before, despite the fact that it may not even matter if you haven't even seen TV associated before, you immediately realize that this is a dragon's egg.
This is hard.
Did you... What is hard?
It's hard to think about what I can do.
What is hard?
Well, you've all seen now he has a dragon's egg that he's showing you.
Oh.
Are you offering it to her, or is that gonna be another dragon or something? Probably don't want to like make that into something beyond than a dragon. It probably is just supposed to be a dragon.
Yes, Silas said. If it comes right down to it, I know what this was, and it can become something incredibly powerful again, but in our service, and not of those beyond. And he glances to what you might have called, what we call it, and he says, "I don't know. Something like an egg might be a good trade for the goblins if we really need it."
I don't think we should trade a dragon egg. I mean, I just, it feels wrong.
Agreed. But the crown, they know. The crown is the last item we need to complete a collection, to start a ritual. I'm not sure a dragon's egg will suffice as an artifact.
Mm.
But you guys were talking about it, so I wondered if you needed some kind of focus tonight or something
I
like
can
that.
certainly. Can I inspect that egg for a second?
Silas hesitates for only a second before handing it over to Matthew. All right.
He holds it up and looks at it. It's still quite warm to the touch, and kind of holds it up to a lamp and says, "Well, there seems to be a life developing inside this egg. Silas, are you quite certain you want to keep this creature?" I'm not going to stop you. It's your egg, but
I've raised from an egg before. I would know what to do to bring that dragon to us. Yeah, I want to keep.
then
It's
I
possible to talk to you after that.
then I believe it's quite possible to bind the two of you together and use that. The dragon is, of course, a creature of wrath, of rage and fire, quite suitable for a summer court. I believe I could arrange something with this, yes.
But Tide still needs something.
Yeah, and I know what I'm gonna do. I take I still draw my sword. It's not this. Hold on. I just grab a lock of my hair and I cut it.
That could certainly
And then-
work. It's
and I try to find something to bind it with, or is this gonna work?
he
And
takes
the
it.
reason is my hair helps me with keeping water. And water is what I fight with. So while I'm not angry at my hair, because if that was going on, it's a mean for me to deliver the punch that I want to deliver. So I guess here.
Of course,
I didn't come with much of anything else because we ran when we had the time. So I don't got much else.
he takes it and goes, well, this certainly could work, both because it is your source of your strength, but also it's part of you, and I can tell that there is a certain fire of anger within you. I believe this will do, and I shall preserve the hair in a way that's easier to transport. He kind of just, some of the strands are floating out of his hand. It's almost like it's water itself, like it's very hard to grasp.
Do people usually braid those before they cut them off? Because I've never done it before, but maybe if you try to braid it, it's gonna work. I
could certainly try to braid
You
it.
want me to get another?
No, I will figure out how to braid it, I believe. Amanda, can you help me out with this? Yeah, Amanda goes over and starts helping him braid the hair. All right, I will prepare the ritual now, and if Patty, if you can leave now and try to find the spear, see if it's been left untouched, then we will prepare the ritual. It's also the question of getting to the hedge. As far as I know, I'm not entirely sure where there would be gates these days. All the trods we used to have, the passageways were used. I've spent the last few days exploring them, seeing if they lead to the hedge, and it turns out none of the old paths still lead to where we believe they would have led. So finding our way to the hedge would be the next issue.
Well, I definitely do not want to go back, but if we have to go back, what about where we came through, where the birch trees were?
The birch trees. I suppose that's one way. Do you know where to find them?
I think so. It's where I was before and where we came out. So unless it's different,
By the
I
wooden
know what it is.
bridge, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't believe the bridge is a portal, but we can certainly go there and try to find out.
Even the sewer portal is closed now?
It closed behind them, yes. Well, off you go. We'll figure that out later.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we
I'll
all going with Patty, or
I
No,
We're
guess
let's.
so.
going.
Okay.
Hopefully, we won't need the
Yeah.
element of surprise. They'll certainly smell us coming.
Some of you go with Patty. Some of you go to get cleaned up. We'll skip ahead from the showering and the looking, and you actually find the spear pretty easily. Indeed, the sheriff of the town has been using it as a door stopper, and Patty gives him a pretty nasty look as she finds it. But it turns out it is the same spear that you brought with you, or that you found. It is still cold iron, so it's a little difficult to touch, but you wrap it up and carry it with you back to the library. And as you return, you find Matthew. He's standing in a little clearing outside of the library, and he's essentially in all the four directions, the cardinal directions. He's placed items. He's placed a mirror towards one direction. He's placed a pair of antlers, actual antlers, in one direction. A jacket and a branch in another. And he goes, these are certainly not quite as powerful artifacts as the ones we've used, but they should suffice for this ritual. This is a very personal bond that you're creating with the season, and it can manifest in many different ways. And one part of the ritual is that you have to do it yourself. I will enable you to reach out to the season, but as for how you make this contract, it is something you will have to bargain with the season with yourself. So if any of you would like to begin, I can try to guide you. You can tell me what's happening and I can try to give you suggestions, but it is unique for every member of a court.
All right.
Nova shoots her hand up.
My hand goes up as well.
All right, all three of you want to go first, so I guess four of you
Make
want...
that 4.
All right, rock,
Starts muscling herself
scissors,
forward.
papers, I suppose.
Silas will win that muscle.
Oh no, she's gonna try though.
You want to do a contested roll for...
No, absolutely not.
Rock,
Alright.
paper, scissors.
Yeah, rock, paper, scissors on camera, or
Sure.
No, she's gonna try, but
Yeah,
she will absolutely fail.
okay.
I don't know how this is gonna work,
Rock.
but...
Paper,
Wait, what do we do?
scissors, shoot. Oh wait, you can.
Ah!
We both.
How
Okay.
about we roll for it instead?
Okay,
Okay.
fair.
And
What are we
Scout's
rolling
honor,
on?
no lying.
Kidding.
Like one
Onyx
die.
Path Dice app. Here I
Yeah,
come.
just one d10.
Okay.
We got a 6.
That's
yeah,
a 3.
and a 3, and 4. So 6 is highest right now.
I'm just gonna take an auto fail.
What?
I'm starting to take an auto fail for my.
Oh wow, okay. All right, so Silas will go last then, I suppose. So, Tide, if you would step into the circle.
Okay, Tide's like, yes. And goes.
And he hands you the braided, very neatly braided hair. This also has a little bow on it, from
What?
Amanda. Now, Tide, I want you to picture summer in your mind. Everything you connect with summer, not necessarily what I spoke about before, not wrath or revenge or anything like that, but rather what does summer evoke in you? Picture it before yourself. And as you're seeing it before yourself, what are you seeing, Tide?
I'm seeing holidays at a seaside with my family, and I'm seeing beach, and I can feel the pebbles under my feet, and I can hear the tides coming in, and I can hear the waves crashing against the shore, and the seagulls.
Very good. Now I want you to. How would I describe this? Your connection to the summer season would be then the ocean. So go into the water.
Okay. It's cold.
Yeah, you step into the water. It's very cold. And you realize suddenly that even stronger than any mental picture you've had before, this is you're there. You are with your family. You actually see Jonas swimming further out. You see your parents on the beach. People are around you, but where you're walking, everyone is kind of moving away. And the water is very, very blue. This is not the same water you used to swim in. It's blue, it's clear. You can feel the cold around you, but you can also feel the sand beneath your feet. The cold is kind of going into your body. It's the kind of cold, biting sensation that you feel every time you feel your anger rise up inside you, every time you want to protect Jonas, every time you think about the person you used to be and what you've lost. And you hear Matthew's voice. It's very distant. It's like he's shouting from the beach. I want you to... No, that was wrong. I want you to give your offering to the ocean.
I try to push aside various thoughts related to the family and how that are distracting. Like Jonas is gonna burn. Did he put on sunscreen? And who are these people? Did I leave? Where did I leave my diary? Stuff like that. And then I'm like, oh yeah, the braid I'm holding. And I extend my hand towards the water and open it up to let it
You,
not sink
yeah,
yet, but just let it take the ocean between my fingers.
yeah. You put it into the water, and as you do, you feel how the sand beneath your feet just gives way, and you sink into the waves. And you don't float at all. It's like you're slipping through air, but slowly. And the bluish light around you just kind of encapsulates you completely. And you see the surface very, very far above you. It's like shimmering slightly from the sunlight. And you see the dark, 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 dark depth of the ocean beneath you. And you feel almost like a caress across your face. And for some reason, even though you're underwater, it feels like a breeze, like a summer's breeze. And you feel how your hand, it's still holding on to the hair, like how your hand is opened up as if someone is slowly unwrapping your fingers. And the braided hair just floats up in front of you, and it kind of just goes around a little bit, slowly, slowly. And then you realize that you have your sword in your hand, the ice sword that you can create yourself, and your hand is closed around it. And a face appears in the water. It's not a woman's or a man's face. It's hard to distinguish, but you recognize some parts of it in yourself. And the face looks into your eyes as if looking for confirmation.
I didn't realize I was trying to hold my breath this whole time. And I tried to slowly let it go. Does it bubble up?
No,
Can I talk?
you can talk. You're part of this. It's like you're in air right now.
Okay, then I take a deep breath.
The cold water enters into your lungs, but it doesn't hurt. It clears your mind. It's like it's giving you a purpose. It's like it's pushing away all these distractions. It's like it's turning you into a blade almost, steel.
I feel much better then because the cold is comforting. And so I kind of take a deep breath and I nod to the face and reach out to try and touch it, maybe even. I'm not hearing you.
Neither am I.
Whoops.
Take that again.
Yes, let's take that again. You reach out, and your hand is grabbed by the oceans, as a guess, and it puts it against its face, and it looks at you and it nods. Do you nod in return?
Yeah.
You're suddenly holding your own face,
Okay.
and you realize you're standing on the beach again, and then you're back in reality, and you're holding your hair in one hand and your sword in the other, and everyone is looking at you like it's like you were never gone, but you had your sword created.
Okay. I try to like shake the memories away, and then I'm like, oh, okay. Did I do that thing?
Are you gonna do it or what, Tide? I mean, you just been standing there. I mean, you wanted to go first, so like, go do the thing.
No, I did the thing. I think did some.
Matthew kind of looks at you slowly and goes, "Yes, I believe the contract has been sealed. I can sense the presence of the summer on you. How do you
I
feel?"
don't. Not that different. Cold.
Cold. It's a
It's
strange
cold.
sensation to connect to the summer. How do you mean cold?
When I went into the water, it went inside of me, and water always feels cold when you're out in the sun for a long time. That's why. And cold water is fine. I like it. I can make ice of it.
Interesting. Well, I would believe that it's been a successful binding. Then you're now officially a member of the Court of Summers.
All right. I don't. Okay.
We will discuss further how that court functions once you return from the hedge if you're going there. But suffice to
Yeah,
say,
I
you
need a
are
minute.
the Court of Summers is the Court of Warriors, which I believe suits your personality quite well.
Okay. I'm gonna sit down here for a moment. I just walk over.
Right?
Sit down on the grass.
Yeah, you're pretty shook, I guess would be the right word. Um, and you realize that you're actually a bit out of breath. It's like you weren't breathing when you were doing this, even though you thought you were.
Hmm. Just try to catch my breath. Like,
Did you feel strangely at not at peace wouldn't be the right word, but you feel like you have a purpose, if you could say that.
I'm not really good at describing things, but yeah, yeah. It felt there was a face in the water, and it asked me a question without words, and I said yes. I mean, I didn't say it, but I nodded yes. So then I took it. I took its hand, but it was my hand, and now I'm here.
It's it's interesting. It's quite different from my own binding. Not I didn't do it with Summer, of course, but everyone is personal. Who wanted to go next? All right, Nate.
I'll head up.
Same thing as before. He hands you that handgun. It's not loaded right now.
Probably for the best.
Yes, and you step into the circle, and he goes, "All right, Nate. I want you to close your eyes, and as you do, I want you to picture what summer meant for you and what it means for you. What did it mean for you when you were younger? What does it mean for you now?"
Summer, looking back on it now, I remember the auto shop. My father, the hot days working on cars or trying to get a customer to overpay for something. Just remember the oil and the smell of it all. The heat, the exhaustion, dehydration.
And you're back there. You open your eyes, you think, and you're standing on the parking lot like area with all the cars, with the writing on the front windows or the front glass with the sale $5,000 or good is new $3,000. and you see the legs of your dad sticking out from underneath a car that he's working on. And there's two big glasses of iced tea on the hood of the car, and it's sweltering. You're sweating. It's just pouring down your face. You can see, your clothes are stained with sweat, and not too far away, you spot other people your age. They're biking on their way to the river because you can see the road from where you are. And they wave to you like, "Hey, Nate, you coming with us?"
I got work to do, guys.
All right, suit yourself. And they just keep going. And you hear your dad muttering, and he's cursing occasionally. It's not like he wants you there, but it's not like he needs you there, I guess. Like, he doesn't actually talk to you, but he would know if you left. It's a strange thing.
I'll take a sip of the iced tea and sit back.
It's cold, and it soothes your throat for a second or two before it becomes parching hot again. You take a seat. Where?
I'm just gonna lean against the car.
All right.
He's working.
The car's hood is so warm that it almost burns through your clothes, but you're used to it. You lean against it, and you kind of think of maybe you should be going to Minneapolis. Maybe you should just leave town. Get out of here. Take your sister with you. You've been planning on going, become an actor. We'll do something anyway, not in this garbage town. And you realize that one of the cars that your dad was showing one of the customers earlier, it's parked and the windows are rolled down, and you see the key in the ignition. He forgot to take it with him.
Gonna walk over to that car.
It's a good car too. If you had the money, you would have bought this model. Maybe a new one. I mean, this is a little bit used. A little bit. Doing a lot of work here. But it's a nice car. It's got your favorite color. What's your favorite color?
Probably red.
It's red. It's exactly right hue of red that you like. It's so inviting too.
I'm gonna get in and turn the key.
Yeah. Your dad just calls something from underneath the car, but he's just checking to see if you're there.
I'm gonna head the direction that my friends on the bikes were going. I'm gonna put my foot on the gas and head that way.
Yeah, you start up the car. It's moving exactly the way you want it to, and you glide out of the doors, the gates rather, to the lot. And as you do, you kind of lose focus on what's outside the car. Everything kind of goes a bit blurry, and then you're on a road. Like, you can tell you're on a road, but it's like a highway. It doesn't end. There's like nothing on the sides, and you feel your hands on the steering wheel, and the steering wheel is very, very hot. It's almost burning to the touch.
Okay, I'm gonna put my foot down on the accelerator. If there's a wide open road in front of me, I'm just gonna go fast as I can.
Yeah, and you just start going, and the car just accelerates. The speedometer, that's what you call it, right? It just goes further and further up. You're at 70, 75, 80, 85, 90 miles an hour. It just keeps going up. And as you do, you realize there's someone sitting next to you. It's like your sister, maybe, but it's a vague shape. You don't really recognize your sister. You think it is. It's someone very close to you. And they kind of give you a nod.
I'll give them a nod back.
And as you do, you feel that you could take this car wherever you wanted to. You could just go. You're free. It's yours. Now you've earned it. It's your freedom. and you realize as you're driving faster that there is a turn on the road, and or rather, how would you say, an off-road? No,
Yeah, an off-road could work.
yeah, an off-road, and the person sitting next to you kind of puts their hand on yours and starts turning it off the road towards the off-road. Do you let it?
Okay. Yeah, I will. I mean, I'll slow down a bit, but
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
make.
And as you go on the off-road, you feel suddenly that, yeah, this is right. You're taking a break here. This is the road you should be taking. And as you do, you realize suddenly that it's night out. You're sitting on the hood of the car, and there's a glass of iced tea on a wooden pole, just 50 feet ahead of you. And lying next to you on the hood of the car is a handgun, loaded.
I'll pick up the handgun and aim at the iced tea.
You aim at the iced tea, and it feels good in your hand.
I'll fire.
And as you fire, you're back where you were.
Oh God, I hope I didn't fire the gun indoors again.
Yeah, you shot tied. No, no. It's not loaded, of course.
Okay.
But it's definitely in your hand, and you feel warm, but not the sweltering heat that you felt when you were in the car lot. More like the heat, the kind of warmth that was slowly fading when you were sitting on the hood of the car at the end of the night. And Matthew looks up at you. He's like, did you seal the contract?
I believe I did.
All right, very, very well then. I would suggest not losing that handgun. But it's a rather strange instrument to bind yourself with. But all right, how do you feel?
Warm and refreshed.
Certainly things I would relate to with summer as well. Any warnings? Anything uncomfortable? Anything you're not sure about?
Not at all. It was like a dream.
Brilliant. Seems it went successful then. We're doing Silas or Nova?
I'll go.
All right, Nova.
They'd stopped at to the last drop before they came, and her item is a mug that had the logo. It has this crack down it, and she's like, I'm so angry when I look at this all the time because I was supposed to be here and I was supposed to be able to figure out what I was supposed to do with my life, and I never got to come back, and now it's cracked, and I hate it.
It's it's good. It's a very good emotion you're feeling right now. It's going to help you, and it's going to help guide you. Hate in controlled measure can be a very powerful tool, but don't let it overtake you. You're here now. There's still chances to build something, still chances to make something of your life. But hold on to that emotion. Step into the circle, and I want you to picture what summer is like for you. What is summer to you, Nova?
She's like this, holding on to the mug. It's like when it's twilight, so like the heat is leaving, but you can still feel the cool. Like you're in the middle, and you're sitting by a fire, and you're alone because everyone else is gone, and you're sitting at the fire, and you can start seeing the little lightning bugs, fireflies start coming out just on the edge, and so you're warm, but you're also cold, and you can just think.
All right, and you find yourself in that area right away. You're in the national park, the White Stag National Park. You're fairly close to the lake. You're sitting on one of the old park benches. There's carvings all over the wood. There's hearts with signatures in them. There's some stuff that's not suitable for reproduction here. There's everything you'd imagine on one of these benches. And it's sun has just gone down. It's just gone down the horizon, and you see these little greenish yellow lights coming out over the water, coming out through the woods. You see the faintest traces of stars. It's the middle of the summer, so the moon isn't really up yet. So it's very, very dark. You see a small light coming from the cabin by the woods. I mean, by the lake. But you're sitting there alone, and it's so loud. There are crickets chirping in the grass. There's this slight clucking noise of the soft waves against the sand of the lake. And you see these lightning bugs flying around all over the place. What do you do?
Uh, uh, well, I think I go to get some more like some kindling for the fire. Like I've got it in little things, and I'm just gonna go out towards like where the trees are. There's always some like brush there, and just kind of find nice thin
Oh
branches
yeah.
and start cracking them. Yeah.
Yeah, because the fire you started earlier is it's still hot, it's still smoldering, but it certainly needs a little bit more to light up. And easy enough, you find it's been a dry summer, so there's plenty of firewood lying around, branches and kindling stuff like that. You gather an armful and head back to the camp. And as you do, you realize you have a little insect stuck to your shirt, sitting on your shirt. It's a little moth. It's gray. It's kind of fluttering its wings, resting for a little bit.
I let it. It's not bothering me. I'm like, hey, you can come over with me. We'll just sit down. I'm not quite done tonight. I'm gonna sit out for a little longer.
Yeah,
Come by the light. I know you like light.
yeah. It sticks to you. Flutters. Its little antenna are flaking a little bit. It's very fuzzy for a moth. It's pretty big too. It's around the size of one of your, almost the size of your thumb. Almost. Not quite that big. And it sticks to your shirt. You go back to the fireplace, put the kindlings in, you get it working, do a little bit of waving with your hand to get some air in there, and yeah, fire's crackling away. Some of the firebugs, or lightning bugs, I guess you call them, are circling the bench you were sitting on, and it's nice. It's relaxing.
Reach because I should have a mug of some coffee just to enjoy with it, and should still be a little warm. So she's gonna like just sip at it, look at the little moth, see if it's still there, make sure it's not getting hurt. Just kind of like
Yeah.
stare into the fire.
Yeah, you stare into the fire, you sip your coffee, and you realize you're gonna be turning 20 this year. You're still in Littlebrook. Still not entirely sure what you're gonna be doing in the future. And I mean, it's summer now. It's nice out. You can literally sleep in your car if you wanted to, but once fall and winter comes around, you're gonna have to find something to do. And it's a little frustrating, you guess, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was like, well, I could just like I could work at the coffee shop for one more year. I can figure this out. I just there's never seems nothing seems to work at the exact same thing. I never have the money to go to school when I need it. I never have the opportunities. I can never just go when I want to go. I gotta stay
Yeah,
here.
exactly. When you get your paycheck, there's something wrong with the car, or your back, you have uh, bills showing up, phone bills, got to pay off your car, stuff like that. Never get the opportunity, never get the chance to get a clean slate. It's frustrating. You look into the fire, and even though it's not really that big, once you start looking into it, you kind of connect to that sort of primal part of the human brain where, like, you stare into it, you start seeing shapes in the fire. You think about, of course, to the last drop, the cafe that you always go to, that you work at, and you just wonder, like, what if you're gonna be here? What if you're gonna be here in 2020? Still what is it, in 40 years, right? Almost 40 years. You're gonna be serving coffee. Is that what you're gonna be doing? I mean, it could be worse, you guess. The shapes you see, though, shapes you see is you can't stop seeing angry faces. It's like customers that pissed you off, or maybe one time you saw old classmates who kind of laughed when they walked past. You never really got to stand out. You never really got to shine, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, she's like getting like she's done this before when she's gotten herself pretty angry, sitting out there thinking thoughts, getting in her head.
Yeah.
She's like holding the coffee mug a little harder, a little tighter.
You hold it tighter and you realize that the mug is cracking in your grip. Like you feel like you hear it more than you feel it. Like there's like almost crunching noise as there's a crack running down the porcelain.
And this too. Maybe the cup is broken. I can't do anything right. She like slams it down on the bench.
Yeah. Yeah, you slam it down. And it kind of cracks even more, and a piece of it falls out. And as you do that, suddenly the something must have gotten into the fire, like a piece of firewood fell over or something, because it kind of blazes up.
Mm.
And you see, or you think you see a person, and they're kind of reaching out their hand towards you.
She's kind of angry. So she's like what are what why are you here? What are you doing here? What do you want from me? I don't know what I want from me. What do you want from me? Out of her head.
And the figure just stares at you, and then it kind of looks to the cup, and you realize that the shard has fallen out of it, pretty big one, and it just kind of looks at you and holds out its hand.
Like, do you want the cup or? And she grabs it and just like kind of like shoves it. Is that it? We go away.
You grab the cup,
Yeah.
just a cup or the shard as well.
Oh, I get both. I
Yeah.
pick it up and I kind of put the shard in the cup.
And the figure kind of just takes the shard from you as you're holding the cup and puts the shard back in place slowly. And you see there's like a little golden pattern where the crack was. And the cup is whole again. Not whole. It's never going to be whole. But just because it broke once doesn't mean it's useless. It can still be used. It's actually prettier now than it used to be.
I think that stops her for a second and maybe calms her down a little. And she says, "Oh, okay, thank you."
And the face in the fire, it's your face. And it looks at you, and it looks at the coffee cup, and then it just kind of shrugs and gives you a look like gives you a look like it's holding out its hand again, like it's trying to grab onto yours.
She goes, "Her, I guess. All right, all right. I mean, you got to make a decision at some point, and maybe I got to do stuff. Can't just keep doing the same thing." Um, she reaches out her hand.
And as you take the hand of the person appearing in the fire, you suddenly are in the fire. The fire is all around you. And the moth that was on your shirt is fluttering in front of you and landing on your face, right on your nose. And you see the little moth with its little wings fluttering. And you're back, standing in the circle again.
Right, she just looks around and sees where she is, and it's like, "Oh, okay, that was the thing. That was the thing. I did the thing."
And you look down and you realize that one of the cracks of the coffee cup, the coffee mug, is filled in with gold.
Okay. I am all set. Thank you. And she like bows a little and like walks backwards out of the circle.
And as you step out of the circle, it's like you feel it's like the air goes out of you, like you were holding your breath this entire time.
Is Tide still sitting down?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna go over and sit down next to Tide. That was a lot.
I would suppose then that the contract worked with you as well. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. I mean,
All right. Well, Silas, I guess it's your turn.
Yes, Matthew.
Yeah, you know the drill by now. I want you to imagine summer. He
Tall grass. Tall grass outside the forest. You can either sit and read, or you can run and do whatever you like.
I cannot really hear your voice right now, I'm afraid.
I'm sorry, I said you could either sit and read, or you could run and do whatever you like with friends. Chase each other, chase animals, do daring do.
You're standing in a field of flowers and grass, and in the forest. It's a clearing. It's vaguely familiar. It's definitely somewhere around Littlebrook. And you're yourself. You're not the kid you once were, or the ogre that you are now. And the tall grass that would reach up to your knees, or even higher sometimes, it barely reaches to your calves now. You're so huge. So much has changed since you were young. But it's peaceful here, and you hear children laughing around you, and you realize that the grass is kind of bending where there's shapes running, but you don't actually see the children. You just see the grass moving away as they're chasing each other. You see a ball landing in the grass here and there, and it's peaceful. It's what you wanted as a child. It's what you wanted now. It's so simple and easy.
So I start walking to the grass, searching for something.
You walk and look around, trying to find something, anything to look at. And you're walking for quite a while, and you kind of don't really know what you're looking for. It's almost frustrating. Like the children keep running around, and you see the imprint of what might be a blanket in the grass, but you don't actually see the blanket. But then you see red grass at the edge of this clearing. You see red, hard strands of grass, not glass. Sorry.
I start walking towards the red grass.
Yeah, you recognize this, of course. The red grass.
I can't hear you now, by the way.
You recognize this red grass, of course. Why do I keep saying glass? Nope. Is it working for everyone else? Okay, weird.
I can't hear you. Maybe everyone else can?
Yeah.
I can hear him.
Yeah.
Okay,
Trying again. Do you hear me now? Do you hear me now?
Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Is it your? I think it might be your head.
I didn't mute her.
Okay. Should try rejoining maybe. Tech happens, folks. Sorry about that. It's
okay, I can hear you now.
There we go.
Tech unhappened.
Tech unhappened. Thank you. So you recognize this red grass, of course, and as you follow it, you go down into this kind of valley-like part of the forest. It's like a large ditch almost, and as you go down it, you hear two children talking. Can't be older than 12 or 13. And they're talking about scientific finds, and they're talking about meteors, and you come up to this kind of black glass-like slope of this ditch. And you see a blade of grass breaking one of the red ones, like being cut in half. And you hear someone yelling out, and you hear movement, and then they're gone, and you're alone standing in front of this huge slab of almost volcanic glass, I guess you'd call it.
I head up to the glass and examine it. The last time I was here was something similar. It looked like it had a mirror. I should be able to see myself.
Yeah, you keep cutting out a little bit when you're talking, I'm afraid.
Sorry, I said I approached the volcanic glass. Last time I was here, it was almost mirror.
It's true.
So I should be able to see myself.
You head over to it, and it's covered in dust. You wipe it off, and you see yourself. Or rather, you see a young man, young boy almost. And he looks scared, confused, a little worried, but also curious. And he looks at you, and he... what item did you bring with you, by the way, to remind you of summer?
Slowly hold up the dragon.
The dragon's egg, that's
showing
right.
It,
The
showing
egg.
it to myself. Both
Yeah.
myself in the mirror and myself as a person. Yeah.
You look at the egg, and you see the young man. He looks at it too, and he kind of squints a little bit, and he stands on his tippy toes to see it because he's so short. He can barely see your hand even when you're holding it down. And then he looks up at you, and you feel this strange sense of vertigo, like you're looking into an endless reflection of yourself, because you see him, and then you see yourself, and you see him. And the egg is growing so warm in your hand. It's almost like it's burning, but your skin is thick. You've suffered much worse before. And the young boy kind of just nods at you, like, is it okay? Like that kind of nod.
It's fine, I say as my hands burn holding the egg.
Yeah.
I was almost worried. You know, this whole time, I thought the challenge would be inside my head, not a matter of pain, but of emotion. Am I being someone different? Or am I just backsliding into old habits? But dealing with rage, dealing with pain, that's what I've done before. My hands flex around the egg, becoming tighter, gripping it almost in defiance of it.
Yeah.
I can do physical all day.
Yeah. The pain is nothing, and it just keeps growing warmer, and you see a small crack appear in the shell. But the crack isn't enough to break the egg. Far from it. But the heat that comes out of it, you see your skin blackening as it's burnt. But you just bear with the pain. And the young man, he kind of just nods as you do this. And you see how his hand, he looks at it too. It's mirroring the damage being done to you, but he doesn't seem to be concerned with it at all. And as you flex your hand around the egg, you feel from inside of it, you feel something similar to the presence you felt from your old mount, but it's simpler. It's basic, and there's a question. And it's not really a question, more of a should we?
That's the question I asked myself. That's the one I thought I'd have to do. Should we go back to using anger? But now I realize the anger isn't just outside. It's not just the anger that I've used at me to justify my actions. It's the anger I feel to circumstances. It's the anger I feel to the world. And it's the anger I feel towards myself. There are better ways to use this egg. Ways to use to help others, not just at someone else's behest. For me, for us, you, you've never had an opinion. You wanted to do, you wanted to use, to have someone to give your anger now. And I think you'd be better off this headache.
And as you feel that, as you think that, you feel the bond between you and the dragon inside of the egg is made. It agrees with you. It believes you have a purpose. And the young man in the mirror is no longer the young man in the mirror. He is you. You see your own reflection again, who you are right now. And
As I finish and I see myself in the mirror, I can hear a thunder crack over the crack of thunder. I can feel rain, and I can feel heavy water falling. It's hot and sticky. It smells like that. And as I look behind me, the fields of tall green grass are bending, becoming harder, sharper, becoming red with blood, just like the rain. And it's happening all around me. I nod, I internalize the scene, and take it to myself. This is how things are.
And you're back in the circle again, and you're holding the egg. The crack is still there, but it's again not enough to break the egg. It's a surface crack. And you see the others. You see Matthew. He looks at you. Is it done?
For good or ill. Yeah, it's done.
Very well. I'm glad to see that the ritual went as well as it could. All four of you are now members of the Court of Summer, the Warriors' Court. Thankfully, or advantageously to us, it is a court that had poor representation when we still had courts, and your help is direly needed now. We need to figure out how to get to the Goblin Market, and we need to retrieve the crown, and if possible, find a replacement for the leaded mirror that was broken. Can I ask you to do this?
One thing I do know about the hedge. Strength will only carry you so far. We need all hands on deck. We need someone with knowledge of what to expect. Matthew, anything you can give us about the hedge, about the people you made that group of Littlebrook made that deal.
Of course.
I'm not smart enough to do it, but maybe you.
The hedge is not Arcadia. That needs to be made clear. It is the middle ground in between. It is not owned by the fair folk. They are strangers there just as much as we are. It is a place of travel, and it is a place where goblin creatures can appear. I can try to come with you. I can try to help you if you require it. But it's been many years since I was there. But we need to find an entrance to it. Do you have any questions, any of you, about the hedge that I can try to answer?
I have a question, but she goes, I do not want to go there, but I have kind of a sense about the hedge. I can help navigate it. So I should come because I don't want you guys to get lost. So I'm coming to help.
I've
Right.
never been to the hedge, but I've never left the garden from Arcadia, so I've never been there. But if you tell me where to go and what to do, I can do it.
Look, last time I left you guys alone, you guys ended up taking a swim in the sewer, so I think I'll tag along for this.
Right. But we did get the thing back.
You got results, that's definite.
Okay, but you can't shoot your way out of the hedge.
A handgun can certainly solve some problems in the hedge, but one thing you need to be wary of, that contracts, agreements, boons and favors, they're all the currency of goblin creatures, just as well as the fair folk. Do not agree to something without knowing the terms, and certainly don't agree to something at a whim. Don't just say yes. And your names, you should not give them your real names.
Does that mean we have to come up with fake names?
Or titles.
Or titles, yes. Something to call yourselves.
Some creatures, this much I do know, some creatures in the hedge will respond to connections as well. But be even more careful about it. You don't want to drop certain names in the hedge, or they will try and sell your knowledge of you to those entities.
Or Illich, you guys are just talking, it's not my big thing, but we should think of names. Should we think of them now or before we go in? Are we going in now?
These items. Sorry.
Oh, we should prepare. Not now. Like we gotta. You may get more in different backpacks.
We can certainly ask Jim if he could help you with that. He rather enjoys making backpacks. I do believe
Maybe we shouldn't wait too long if they're, as I overheard those other two, they are trying to sell these stuff or they were getting it for someone. So the more we wait, the further it will go away from us, perhaps.
it's quite likely that these items will fetch a high price at the goblin market, which is thankfully rather good for us, because that means that the amount of buyers will be fairly low as well. But Jonas, you're bringing up a good point. Losing one of these items would mean we'd need to find a sufficient replacement, and that would be an artifact of great strength for the season it represents. Going as soon as you can, or as soon as we can, if I'm to go with you, would be the best.
Are we suspected to bargain in the hedge over these things, or can we claim them since they're ours, or can we use Nade and his so handy handgun, or what
They
is
were
the
stolen from
appropriate
us.
approach?
They were stolen, not given, or rather,
Yes.
it was stolen. So I would assume that merely taking it back, either by force or by coercion or any other means of convincing them, would be sufficient. There is no need to bargain with thieves.
Great.
I like the sound.
Oh, I was saying, if you do need bargaining, I'm your guy. Forgot I was on push to talk.
Nova says she does not want to go there again, but she does have some knowledge of the goblin market, and she can help too.
How
Silas, I suddenly look at Nova curiously and realize, Nova, are you sure you're going to be able to go into the hedge? I
No,
know
I'm
you
not.
want. I know, yeah, I know you want to help us, and we also want to help you. You're not just a tool to take the head to do things.
No, thank you, Silas. Thank you for checking. I'm just so angry, and I just want to go and do stuff. I think that's what I got to do. I can't stay and watch. I don't want to watch anymore. I want to do stuff, and if it means going someplace I don't want to go, but maybe I get to have some revenge, I'm in.
Hell yeah.
how dangerous will the hedge be? How likely is it that we will run into someone that we do not want to run into?
the hedge is a rather big place, and its laws of physics and travels are more similar to ours than they would be in Arcadia, but still rather unusual. It could there are some well-walked paths that are fairly safe. There are some shortcuts that would not be, but it changes. The hedge changes over time. I'm quite certain that I would have as much of a hard time finding my way through it as you would once we enter. It's quite likely we will run into some manner of fey creatures. If we're lucky, we will not run into any of the fair folk. And if we do, there are means to protect us. We are no longer mortals, meaning that the laws of Arcadia, the laws of the hedge apply to us as well, meaning they can't just take us. But do keep in mind that the goblin markets are known for selling of souls as well, so it's quite likely someone might try to convince you to work as a servant, or to help them with a task, or to solve a dispute. And if you agree to do it, the terms might not be immediately clear.
Yeah, I was gonna be sold at a goblin market, but I managed to escape. Of course, that didn't last long, but just be.
Matthew,
No, yeah.
is this how life is gonna be now here? Like we have come back for a week and we have battled a dragon and now we're going back to some Fey realm and everything and dealing with or if we do the ritual again, can we avoid this, or is this our life now?
We went 17 years without a single creature of Arcadia or the hedge making their appearance in the city. I would presume that even if the contract was weakened, I would presume that 17 years would be a respite from these things.
Great, then I'm in. I'll come along. I'll help.
Very well. We still need to find a way to enter the hedge. One of the best ways, I suppose, would be where one of you were kidnapped. Since you were, at least I know that Jonas and Tide, you were taken most recently, correct?
Yeah.
Where exactly were you taken?
In the mines. I fell down a hole in the mines.
I knew it. Sorry.
And I suppose that's where you were taken as well, Tide. And in fact, that is when you went looking for your brother.
Yeah.
You went there as well. And found your way coming out from the other end. Nova, sorry, you were holding up your hand.
Oh, no. It's thinks about saying something and then doesn't.
All right.
Hey guys, I'm sorry, but I have to go.
All right.
I'll see you all later. Thank you for a good game.
Thank you. See you later.
Take care, man.
Bye bye.
Okay, bye. Okay. Oh, yeah. I'll fix this. I'll fix this. No worries.
This is what the hedge is going to be like.
Yeah. Everything's gonna be messed up.
Whoa.
I should tell him next time to not.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. I added.
It's fixed.
Perfect. Oh shit. There we go. I added my fake account. So everything should be fine now. We're gonna finish up in another couple of minutes anyway, but Matthew nods to. I suppose then that the mines would be the best place to start looking for an entrance into Arcadia. I was not aware that there was one there, and
but look, I'm not questioning your knowledge, but this will take us to the hedge, right? Not to where me and Tide were taken.
There
we
is
won't
no
go stumbling back.
There is no direct pathway between our world and Arcadia. You would have to walk through the hedge, regardless of where you enter. Our world is anathema to theirs, and such proximity wouldn't be hurtful to them. Still, you mentioned the the forest of birch trees as well.
Yes, that's where we came out.
That's where I was taken to.
Could you find your way to this forest? Is it nearby?
It wasn't too far. It's where we used to go trying to find Bigfoot. So
I see.
It's not too far from the diner, right? It's in that direction.
For those, because this is a little bit confusing, maybe some of you. Well, we're taking this is me, the storyteller, saying that some of you were actually you were in the forest and came to an area of birch trees there. So, but when you exited the birch tree forest this time, you came out at the bridge, which is not where the birch trees are. So, to clarify that, you can actually maybe get to the birch trees from other ways. Right, then I suppose then that we should find Loss as well, and then we should pack your backpacks as soon as we can, and on my backpack as well. Did you want me to come with you?
I'm thinking like this. I don't want to be the paranoid one here, but isn't there just a chance that someone is waiting on us on the other side and have like hired these goons, these goblins, to lure us back into the hedge? I think we should be maybe with the courts now on our side. I hope that helps, but maybe you stay here, Matthew, so you can help us come back if
Certainly.
something
If
goes
you
wrong.
I agree.
if you bring a mirror with you, we should be able to communicate that way.
And we'll bring a mirror.
And if you keep looking into the mirror, I can bring us back. Maybe.
Perfect.
Maybe. Very maybe. I've not tried from the hedge, obviously, but
Well,
I
then
can try.
we shall retrieve a mirror, and then we shall prepare for your departure.
Okay.
And I believe we should inform Lars of this as well, if he's coming with you.
Yeah.
Lars, when we were going out, it was very confusing. But didn't he tell us to get on top of the beetle?
Yeah.
He knows some stuff in there. Maybe
He
Right.
he
does.
knows more about the hedge as well. We shouldn't go without
Then it
him.
will certainly be useful.
Agreed.
At least ask him if he wants to join.
Right. Well, I do believe we have our goals set out for ourselves. So if you retrieve Lars, I will prepare the ceremony for him if he needs to find a way to make a pact with the season as well, and then we will leave.
All right.
Yeah. Let's go and find Lars then.
Okay. And I believe that that is an appropriate place to end tonight's session. And
We're bringing you in, Turing.
yes. Thank you everyone for watching, and thank you very much my players, my lovely players, for playing. This was great fun, and I hope you had fun too. And we'll see you in the next week, where we will have a guest player joining us. So there will be 7 people on screen at the same time. No, 8
Where are you
people
gonna
on screen at the
put
same
them?
time. I'll fix it. And I'm not going to tell you who that is, but you may be able to figure out if you look in the chat.
There'll
And
be no problems at all.
none at all.
Now I gotta look in chat.
Oops. Good.
I'm looking too. I don't.
And if you're still watching, don't forget to back the Kickstarter for Cults of the Blood Gods. It's on the Onyx Path. I think the Nightbot has mentioned it a few times. And until next time, stay safe out there. We love you. Have a great evening.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.